That's right. It's gaming is in session. The reason you need to take me to my leader, you take me to your leader, whatever the phrase is. I told Alex that was funny. He said it wasn't. That's how I knew it was a good joke. That's how I knew that was our lead in. We're fighting aliens. Earth Defense Force 6. Alex picked this game. It's another game just like Helldivers, where you're on Earth, you're defending it against aliens and insects and other stuff that's trying to evade. Alex, how'd you like that? It was worth it, wasn't it?
Uh, Saying the words "take me to your leader" is not a joke. It's just you saying something. The thing that made it good was the mask that you had on with the little pinched mouth. That I didn't expect the mask, so
I
that's why it worked.
No, it worked because it's funny. It's like, take me to your leader. Like it's just
Like
funny.
that by
It's
itself is not
just
funny.
funny. Yeah, if you get freaking who's that the black guy who narrates everything?
Morgan
Um
Freeman,
no, the
that's who
other
you
one.
don't know anybody's names, Adam. Morgan
There's
Freeman.
only one black astrophysicist. Neil
Oh, Neil.
deGrasse
Okay, so
Tyson.
you said narrates everything. You meant that black astrophysicist that's famous who has
That
narrated
narrates
things.
everything.
He
Anyhow,
doesn't. He
he's just sitting there and he's like, take me to your leader. Like that's not funny. I agree, right? But it's a thing. It is gaming is in session where we play 20% of a game and decide are we going to continue playing it to its completion? Are we going to complete or are we going to cut it short? Is it enough already? Are we going to move on?
are we gonna go call uncle? Is that the phrase you call? You say uncle.
Maybe you. I call Auntie. So as always, Alex, we have to start with Gamer Juice. And this one, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited. I I'm a little worried. I'm not a big alcohol guy. Most alcohol sucks. It's horrible. I went and I was like, I need to up my game. This is Sweetwater gummies, fruit punch. Now, here's what I don't understand. It's IIPA. I even looked online. I don't know what IIPA is. Do
So
you?
what did I see? I saw today at a store there was a thing called like a double IPA. Maybe that's what it's referring to.
Oh,
But I don't know what that means.
I have no idea either. But I mean, there's sharks and there's fruit and Swedish fish. I mean, if there's any beer I'm gonna like, it's gotta be this. I'm probably not gonna like it, right?
Let
And
her
I'm gonna
rip,
have to
let her
drink it
rip.
all. Terrible, terrible.
And now you got to drink all of it.
That's the
Adam,
thing. It's horrible. The thing is, why? I hate it when people are like, dude, it's Kool-Aid. It's fruity. It's not fruity. It still tastes like alcohol. It's just
yeah,
tainted a little bit. I'm just gonna chug it.
it just smells like it tastes better. Chug, 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 chug. Oh, I like it. I like it. The ball gets in the hole. I got to get to that liquid.
Yeah, wow. Now I'm gonna have to burp. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, listeners. Wow, that it's 10% alcohol.
Adam's
Isn't
about to
that
be
a lot
wrecked.
for a beer?
That's a lot for a beer, yeah.
Is that enough to get tipsy?
It, that quickly, yeah. Depends on what you've had to eat today.
Are you kidding me? Well,
We're gonna have a loopy Adam for this first segment.
let's go. All right, what are you drinking? Let's
Uh, I got a choice for you, Adam. We have. I was at the gas station. They have this. Hello, my name is Nemo's Nutcracker. Blue colada. Or they also had a Coke Zero Oreo flavored. Did I already do this once?
No, I did. Well, I did the slushy. I did the Coke Zero Oreo slushy.
Yeah.
So if you're letting me pick, here's the thing. I went to Finding Nemo, the movie. I walked out, middle of it. Horrible movie, atrocious. They should be ashamed of themselves. One of the worst movies I've ever seen. Kick that to the curb. You ain't drinking that. You're doing Oreo double chocolate or
Okay.
Coke or whatever it is.
Granted, I'll probably drink both of these tonight, but I'll start with the Oreo. I just love the picture of Adam Finding Nemo opening night, bunch of little kids with their parents, and then Adam, 20 something years old, by himself in line.
I wasn't
Theaters
by
packed.
myself. I wasn't by myself.
Theaters packed. People are watching Finding Nemo, loving it. It got a direct sequel. People love that movie. Adam, in the middle of Finding Nemo, stands up. This movie's garbage. Fish can't talk. Storms out. Storms out.
I didn't say
I can't believe
anything.
I paid money for this crap. As Ellen DeGeneres is walking around talking about Dory and stuff. I love it, Adam. That's great.
I didn't say anything, but I stood up and I walked out. It was horrible. They did not earn my time.
Do
Okay,
you
what's
walk
that
out of
first
movies
tip?
often?
What?
Do you walk out of movies often? How
Only
many
time.
movies have you walked out of in the
The
middle?
only time I've ever walked out of a movie.
Finding Nemo was the movie that was atrocious enough for you to walk out.
100%. And I've watched some real crap, mind you, and still that one was too much to bear.
I,
Absolutely.
I've never walked out of a movie. There's movies I've wanted to walk out of, but
Well, you're
I've
not a
never.
man, so that doesn't surprise me. You don't have the stones to stand for something. Respect yourself, man. I mean, you're sitting here drinking Oreo Diet Coke. It's bad, isn't it?
It tastes like an Oreo, but I don't necessarily want to drink my food.
I'm not gonna lie, the slushy was not good. I'm glad you must have forgotten. That's another reason why I wanted you to drink that one because I know it wasn't very good. But
It
at least
tastes like
the
it,
slushy
it
was.
tastes 75% like Coke Zero, which is cool. And then 25% like an Oreo, which is kind of cool. But I don't necessarily want both of those flavors happening in my mouth at the same time. Whoever thought of this was dumb, and whoever
Yeah,
approved it was dumb. And maybe that's why it's limited edition and it's no longer being sold because it's dumb. It doesn't
for
taste good.
sure. Yeah, like just give me an Oreo, right? Yeah, 100%. So, Alex, you, as I mentioned, you decided, well, first one, fan shout outs. Good point. Good point. Then we'll get into the game. Fan shout outs, we got to do it. So, we played last time, we played A Way Out. Shafe Dog, we're a little behind on his comment, but he mentioned something tells me you two will keep playing the prison shower scene over and over again. I don't think we replayed it, but we focused on it.
And listen, those puzzles were particularly hard. The skill games you had to play to get out were particularly difficult. We
Mhm.
had to replay it many times to make sure we got all the details in case any of that information came up in the future. Like, does so and so, does Vincent have a tattoo? Does Leo
Mhm.
have a tattoo? Whose is longer? Whose is bigger? Those kind of things pop up. You never know when these things pop up in a game later on. So we had to make sure we were ready to answer those questions.
And like I alluded to earlier, I'm hard, right? Like Alex doesn't have self-respect. I do. If I end up in prison, I got to know how do I need to act when I'm entering in, when they're gonna shower me down. So I was really focused on what do I need to do if I'm in that position. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but I learned a lot, right? I learned a lot.
Oh, there was a shower scene. I thought he was just making stuff up. There was a shower scene. That's right.
Well, I mean, it was more of like yeah, they were squirting you down before, they squirted me down. I was the
Yeah.
one who was Vincent, and
That was where I was trying to get that camera angle just right to see if there was hang down behind the clothes.
yeah, it's too
But
small. I was too shrimpy. Yeah, couldn't do it. Then we've got Corporate Zombie, who I think in response to you missing the character names and not
yeah.
knowing who you played as, even though we played an entire freaking game of it, he said, to be fair, the names Adam and Alex are almost the same, and it took me almost a year to work out which was which. Well, number one, Vincent and Leo don't sound similar at all.
Was this in response to the Way Out video? I thought this was him talking about Wukong and how you got Wuhan and Wukong mixed up.
Mm, oh, I thought it was a way out because you missed Leo.
Because I don't think you've posted the Way Out video yet, have
Oh,
you?
maybe not. Okay. Well,
No.
either way, you know what, zombie? That's a bean. Because a whole year? I mean, we're so different. If you look at who has the worst takes, just assume those are Alex, right? You're going to be right 95% of the time. so it should be easy to decipher who is who. That's a bean. What do you think, Alex? I think we should send this man some beans and he has to eat it.
Just for getting us mixed up for over a year. I mean, most people that know us only get us mixed up for like 6 months at the most.
100%. A year? That's almost, you know, you could be going to the guillotine for that. But we're just gonna
He would
like
have gone to both of our birthdays and said the wrong name singing happy birthday in that year.
that's an interesting way of looking at it. You should be ashamed, zombie. That's it. He needs to eat a bean.
We'll
That's
give him
just
some beans. We'll find him some beans. We'll send him some beans. He
that's
needs
the
to eat
only way.
the.
It's Speaking of that, we're going to hand out beans sometime tonight. But
Yep.
before we do that, let's go into the game. Alex, you selected Earth Defense Force 6. I'm curious why this game. Like you were like, "Hey, I got a game for us," and thankfully you gifted it for me. Thank you, so I didn't have to pay for it. Granted, I was already bent over from a way out. Just losing $35 because freaking PlayStation decides the day after I buy the game to put it on sale for $5. But either way, why did you choose Earth Defense Force 6?
Yeah, so this is a game I had my eye on for a while. Back in the 360 era, I think I downloaded a demo for like Earth Defense Force something, like 3 or 4. And I played it, and it was, I mean, for those who don't know, this is a game, you're basically a soldier running around in a city fighting giant monsters, like ants and spiders, but they're huge. They're the size of buildings, and you're blasting them, and there's hundreds of them, and you're shooting them, and they're falling apart. It's just a crazy, over the top, like kaiju type game. Like Godzilla type thing going on. And I played the demo and I had fun, but I never played more of the game. I always wanted to play Earth Defense Force, but then following along as they came out, everybody's like, "Nah, this one's not that good. Actually, this one's not that good. You should play this one." Stuff like that. So I'd always wanted to dive into one of these games, like seriously, and get into one. And Earth Defense Force 6 came out last year, and a lot of people, I think, kind of riding off of the Helldivers hype, a lot of people were kind of like, "Yeah, this is the one. This is the one that's really good." Um, my real experience with the game though started in the PlayStation 2 era. There was a game called Robot Alchemic Drive, and you are a person who has to run around the city as a person, and you remote control a giant robot like the Power Rangers giant robots, and you have to fight like enemies like Godzilla. So it'd be like Godzilla's attacking a city. You as a person walk through the city, and you have to like get a good vantage point so you can remote control this giant robot to fight Godzilla. And it's really
See,
janky.
I like that. Like, so
Yeah.
this game, just to talk about, because that's pretty cool. This is a simple third person shooter. You're going out, you're shooting insects and aliens and things. You're trying to save Earth, right? It This didn't mean too much to me. Like it was just almost like it could be a
Mindless.
phone game.
Yeah.
That is an interesting idea.
Yeah. So that was like the first game made by this company. And I love that game. It didn't get great reviews, but I'd always kept my eye on the company of like, man, they really have some good ideas that if they got some money, they could
Was
flesh it
it the
out.
mechanics, just like the technical limitations of the PS2 and then being able to make it work is why it didn't do great?
I mean, for a game on the PS2 era, right? You have these giant models for the enemies, and you have this like huge destructible city. So the graphics were pretty like bare bones. Like the textures were really bare bones. The other thing is there was a lot like, and imagine in Earth Defense Force, we'll talk about this later. There's a lot of talking in Earth Defense Force going on. Imagine if you couldn't skip that talking, and it was like badly voice acted. Like a lot of Robot Alchemic Drive is you standing there with bad anime characters saying stupid stuff to you. But once you get playing, the playing is really fun. But a lot of that stuff is, yeah, it wasn't great. So it's really rough around the edges, right? There's a lot of stuff that needs to be polished, but the core design was really, really fun and enjoyable. And it felt clunky, but it felt clunky on purpose because, like, if you control the giant robot the way you control any other video game character, the game wouldn't be hard. You're just beating up another robot. But the idea of like, I got to go get on top of this building so I can see what's going on, so I know when to throw a punch because it's like one
Dude,
button throws one
you are
punch.
always so keen on these, oh, a game's bad on purpose. The controls are bad on purpose. You did the same thing with Silent Hill 2. Like, maybe it's just bad.
But then no. This isn't bad. Like this isn't bad on purpose. It's just people weren't good at the mechanics. They were expecting a fighting game. It's not a fighting game. It's like it's almost like a very slow strategy game that you're playing. Anyways, that game was great. So I always followed Sandlot, and they've released a bajillion of these Earth Defense Force games. The first one came out right after Robot Alchemic Drive. The first one came out, and it was just called Monster Attack, and it was like a budget series on PlayStation 2. But they've released a bunch. They had one, Adam, called Earth Defense Force 2025, but it came out in 2014.
That's this
So
year.
I know. So maybe we should have played that. But no, the
What's
Earth
gonna
Defense
happen?
Force.
Tell me. Are we
Yeah,
screwed?
play Earth Defense Force 6 and you'll find out. This one came out last year. Um, Adam, I thought this game got nominated for Games of the Year or something like that. I don't think it did actually. I
Oh.
looked on Metacritic. The average score was 73, which is kind of in line with the rest of the reviews for all the other games in the series. So I don't know who was telling me suddenly that Earth Defense Force was great. It feels about like the way it felt when I first played it back in the day.
So are there 6 Earth Defense Forces?
No, there's way more. There's way more. They had like
Wow.
reboots and stuff. They had spin-offs. So they have a spin-off called like Earth Defense Force World Brothers, which is Earth Defense Force, but you're playing with like pixelated characters, like Minecraft characters almost.
But like, I don't understand. This is such, and this isn't a negative thing. I don't mean this as a
Yeah.
slight. It's such a simple game. Like, there's not too much depth into it. I don't understand how they can make a long-running series of these. I don't, who's buying them? How are they? I don't get it, I guess.
So
You know?
I mean, obviously looking at the game, it doesn't look like it's too expensive to develop, right? And I think even Earth Defense Force 6 rehashes and reuses a lot of stuff that was in Earth Defense Force 5. But the game design is not rocket science, right? So I think what's happening is it scratches a very specific itch, and the game has its own niche in the gaming community to where they can probably bank on, if we release another Earth Defense Force, we're going to get X number of sales. Is that profitable? Okay, let's release it and do it, because there are people who probably play every single one of these when they come out. Just like I know you don't know the series that well, Dynasty Warriors. Um, they just had Dynasty Warriors Origins. It's kind of the reboot of the series. That's a Muso game. So it's almost like this, except instead of shooting, you're like a Chinese soldier general running around with a sword and like killing hundreds and hundreds and thousands of foot soldiers on a battlefield. It's called a Muso game, and there's probably 100 games in the series. You've never played it. They don't sell that great, but they sell good enough to keep getting more games made. So I think if you find your certain audience, it's not going to balloon and be like everybody buying it, but you certainly have enough installed to make it profitable to turn it around. So that's what's
It's not,
happening here.
what you're saying is it's no Kingdom Hearts, but it's, yeah, profitable.
It's a
Okay.
little bit better than Kingdom Hearts, yeah.
Sure. Okay. So good highlight. I don't know the best way to start with the game. I guess to me, the plot after beginning the game, you've played the game more. You started the game even before we played it together. But as far as I'm concerned, I started the game. I've played 3.5, 4 hours of it. I'm like, dude, this is about you show up, you're a soldier in the army, aliens are invading Earth, you're fighting to save the civilians. You don't see them, but you're saving the planet by defeating these aliens. You're saying it goes deeper. So, at a very easy and high level, you fight aliens so they don't take over Earth. What's your deeper meaning here?
I don't want to say it goes deeper like it's something really deep here.
In the
It's just
script, you put it goes deeper, Adam.
yeah, so the thing is the beginning of the game is almost like a bait and switch. You start off and you meet this guy, and he's talking about something like he knows you before, and you go through a handful of missions. And I don't think you got to this point, Adam, but like a mission 6 or 7, like the screen, all the colors on the screen invert, and it says Earth Defense Force 6 starts now. Did you get to that point?
I must have stopped right before that because
Um,
I did 6 missions. I didn't do
then it
7.
might have been like 7 or 8, something like that. But it
Yeah.
it does that, and then suddenly, like everybody's different, and the enemies are different, and stuff like that. And then I kept playing all the way. So there's like over 150 missions in this game, by the way. Um, I kept playing through like mission 50, and by that point, you're traveling through time, you're rewriting history, and so this is basically the story of this game is you leveraging the alien technology against the aliens that you fought in Earth Defense Force 5 so that you can go back in time and rewrite history so that the aliens can't take over Earth. Um, I think there's probably some story callbacks to Earth Defense Force 5 that I didn't pick up on because I haven't played it. But that is kind of the thing in the game that there's probably some subtle commentary being made about like how wars just time just repeats itself and you're always fighting wars or something like that. Because this is, the eighth iteration of the game and you're doing the same thing over and over again. So there's a bit more to it than just like you show up, you kill the aliens. I mean, that's what you do in the gameplay, but there's something going on with the story.
I wish
Um,
they would have alluded to that before, because what you just said there, that sounds pretty cool.
yeah,
I got that there was no plot at all. Like you're right, there are people talking, but it's like just minimal bull crap that you can ignore, and it added no value to the actual game. So I literally thought it was just you fight aliens. So that's actually intriguing. I mean, I think it's still a bad part on them that they don't. And maybe I don't know. If you played an earlier Earth Defense Force, you know it gets a little more in depth other than the first, few hours you play it. But as a brand new player, I would have had no idea that was coming.
yeah. I mean, they don't. You don't play this game for the story. I just thought that it was an interesting conceit to one leverage the Earth Defense Force 5 assets so that they could make a new game and then have a plot reason why you're replaying Earth Defense Force 5 for a certain degree. Um, but yeah, you're not here for the plot. You're here for the blasting the bugs and tearing
I
down the
mean,
cities and stuff like
I,
that.
I feel like yeah, it's subjective, right? I think we probably know I'm more of a plot guy than you are. So not having any plot to sink my teeth in, it didn't motivate me to want to keep playing the game. I found it pretty boring, pretty fast. The missions I think are too long. Like there was no reason for me to play this. But even that little nugget, and I'm sure it's still a very simple plot line, even what you mentioned, there's probably not a ton of depth in those plot points, but that is enough to where now I'm like, I wasn't going to play this game again. But now I'm like, I kind of at least want to get to mission 7 or 8 to see what you just talked about. Just that little morsel of plot
Yeah.
is all it takes, and they squandered it. I mean, 4 hours in and you don't have any of that? Like, why wait so long? I don't get it.
Yeah, you're the way they advance the plot, you're right, is all through people talking, right? And the whole time I'm playing, I'm ignoring what anybody's saying because it's like, one, I can't hear it. You need to adjust like the sound mixing. I think you need to like turn the sound effects down and like raise the voice acting up so I can hear what they're actually saying. But like that is all of the stories being told through people talking while you're shooting the aliens and stuff. And it's like I'm stressed out enough. I don't have time to read what they're saying or listen to what they're saying. Because 9 times out of 10, it has no bearing on what I'm fighting against at that point. Which kind of, there are ways to do this effectively. When I played Ace Combat, I loved the story in Ace Combat, and it's told entirely through radio chatter in the same way. But for some reason, playing Ace Combat, I'm picking up on everything everybody's saying, and it's working. And here, it just doesn't quite work. And it might be because I'm playing the game wrong. Yeah, but I think honestly, it's just because like the voice acting's not great, the writing isn't great, and if there was no plot, I'd be probably just as happy with the game as I am now.
I think one of the problems is probably, I've only played the one Ace Combat game that was in VR, but everything they say contributes, at least in some small way, to give you context or to give you mission info. Here, it's like, oh, the aliens are coming. Oh, we need to save the civilians. Like, there's so many comments that are useless. Like, it's
Yeah.
just fluff that you start to ignore everything they say because you assume, like 90% of it is, just some one off comment that doesn't add anything to the mission, to the game, to the context. So, I mean, that's kind of a bummer because that's very easily fixed, right? But
Well, I think what happens is they like there's obvious jokes they throw in there at certain points too. Like there's a level where you're fighting the monsters. The monsters are all the insects, and then the aliens are all the like guys that are walking around. And
Mhm.
there's a point where you're fighting a bunch of monsters, and then aliens appear. The giant frog soldiers appear, and they look like giant walking frogs. And as they appear, you hear the people on the radio chatter say, "Oh my God, they're humanoid. Oh my, they look just like us. Look at them. They got two legs and two arms and heads. They look almost identical to humans," which is like they don't at all.
Yeah.
And so like those are little jokes the writers threw in, but they throw those little jokes in all the time. So it's like I really don't have to pay attention to what they're saying because all this stuff is really just kind of a giant joke. But then there are points where they're like saying something that advances the plot. And now I'm not paying attention to it because I just assume it's a joke that if I have the free time I can listen to. So yeah, I had to look up what was happening to figure out why at mission 50 am I replaying mission 3 again, but things are slightly different. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it doesn't tell you that you've like gone back in time. You have to like piece it together.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you at least told me because I am tempted to go play a couple more missions to get to at least that turning point and then see how I kind of like it. To move on to enemy variety, I mean, 4 hours in, I'm seeing bees, ants, big frogs, like you mentioned. I knew there were aliens. What else is there in terms of enemy variety?
So the monsters you have ants, you have different. So there's like the queen ant that has wings, she's shooting out red stuff that hurts you. And she's gigantic. There's spiders. There's like flying frogs with wings that when you shoot them down, then they frog around and they're like not the monster frog or not the alien frogs, they're just like
Yeah.
frogs with wings. Um, and any type of bug does it, red ants that pick you up and fling you around. There's the gray ants that spray acid. There's little tiny like white ants that run really, really fast. So those are the monsters. Then the alien side, you have like the frogs, but you have different levels of frog aliens. Like there's the ones just walking around looking naked with guns. Then there's ones that have like a lot more armor on and they carry heavier weapons. And then you have like aliens that are wearing armor that you have to like explode off of them before you can even damage them. They're really hard to fight. They run fast. They run just like you and me, but they're giant and they hide behind buildings. But then you start fighting like ships too. So the alien spaceships come down. So there's ships flying around through the air, and you have to shoot them out of the sky. And then there's like big ships that drop more bugs and more monsters and more aliens that teleport other enemies in. The last new guy I fought was like a giant squid alien. That was like a new enemy to fight. Actually, I'm stuck in that level. I can't figure out how to get past it because there's too many of them and they're really hard to fight. But like the enemy variety is good. Like they keep throwing more stuff. Oh, there was one level where you basically fight Godzilla. That was fun. That like I went there, I shot a couple bugs, and suddenly Godzilla appeared. That was pretty cool. So I assume there's going to be more of that. But yeah, it doesn't let up. They just keep throwing more and more new enemies at me, which is kind of cool.
Maybe that's a good thing you mentioned because right now to this point, although there is some enemy variety in the first 4 hours, there's not any strategy. Like, oh, okay, the frogs have a gun and you got to sidestep their bullets. The ants kind of spit acid, but there's no real strategy, which again just kind of makes it boring. It's like, okay, the whole time I'm just shooting and it's just 35 minutes straight shooting. That's it. No strategy. I don't almost die. There's no like, yeah, your guy can get new weapons and you could have new loadouts every mission, but that's not really new strategy. And I feel like I wouldn't need to do that except for the fact that I'm like, please let there be something different. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe rather than having 150 missions, slowly progressing through plot and enemies, shrink it down. I don't know what to think. But
So I think maybe the missions you played through are more or less like tutorial missions. Like it's basic shooting, and it's there for you to get the mechanics down.
dude, I played 4 hours. A four
Yeah,
hour tutorial?
kind of like that happens.
Okay,
It's a
then I mean, yeah, maybe, but that's bad. That's
because to
not good
me,
development.
like in the missions that you get, the missions you play later, like there is strategy in selecting your loadout. Like, oh, I'm going to be fighting alien ships that are like way far away from me. I need to make sure I have something equipped for long range. Or I'm going to be fighting an area with monsters where they're generating. I need to make sure I have something equipped to where I can pick off a bunch of enemies at once rather than high damage for a singular enemy. I've had missions where it's like I got to fight to keep the higher ground so I can kind of look down and fight on them. And then the other thing is we have the different classes, right? We haven't gone into that, but there's different character classes you play as, and that's part of the strategy too. I mean, I think they made it so you can play through any mission with any class, but even within those character classes, you get different weapons, and the weapons you get affect how you approach that mission. So there's strategy in that sense. Now, once you're actually fighting, there's not much strategy, right? It's just shooting and moving around to make sure you don't get rocked. But there have been some where it's like, you know what? I'm not going to try to kill everything. I'm just going to try to zoom through the things I got to take out and let the enemies accumulate. And then sometimes it's like I'm going to slowly step through this mission and take out the big guys so I can clean out the weak guys later. So the strategy kind of amps up as you get further in, and as the enemy variety uh, picks up as well. Because there's like some weapons that are great when you're fighting the ants, but then once those armored aliens come in, like it does zero damage to them. So you got to make sure you have some way around that as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I've and to start to come to the close of the first segment, I was actually impressed with the graphics. Like game looks good, reacts pretty well. I'm playing it on the Steam Deck, which is, the MVP. Love the
Yeah,
Steam Deck.
yeah.
Are you Steam Deck or are you actually playing it on the computer? Like what's your preferred method?
So I've played it. I played on the Steam Deck, but I got most of my game time. I'm using GeForce now, so it's kind of like Stadia, but there's some beefy computer somewhere in Iowa that I'm streaming from, and it has like super high GPU and CPU and stuff, and that streams to my Chromecast on my TV. So I'm playing that way. But I played a bit on the PC that way, and then I also played on Steam Deck, and the saves transfer and stuff like that. Both of them, honestly, kind of an equivalent experience. Um, I'm very impressed at how well the game runs on Steam Deck. Like, I thought it might have issues when you get to the areas where there's a lot of enemies, but I've had no slowdown or anything like that. It's really impressive. Now, the graphics don't look amazing at first glance. Like, the buildings look very basic. The character models are like pretty basic. But the fact is, you're like in this gigantic map, right? It's a map that would take you, 5 minutes to walk across if you were walking from one end to the other as a character. And then there's obscene amounts of enemies that are like gigantic in size. So that's why the game doesn't look photorealistic. But even that said, it works really well on the Steam Deck. And, when a lot's going on, we're not having really, the game's not chugging or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's expectations, right? Like I know it's not a AAA game. I don't expect AAA graphics. And
Yeah.
for an indie game, I thought this was definitely suitable. So maybe do we want to cover a couple quiz questions, or do we just want to save it for the second segment?
Let's say for the second segment, we'll jump in with a quiz. Then we'll go over to the character classes and the multiplayer, and then kind of I think you have a top five aliens in video games thing you want to do, so we can do
Yeah,
that.
we're
Yeah,
gonna deal with Dean's. I'm certain I know some of what you're gonna pick, and I'm gonna put a bean. I'm gonna put beans on it.
I
Uh,
we need to prove somehow that you didn't just change your expectation based on my answers.
no, I'm gonna tell you what I think. I'll go first. I'll tell you what I
Okay,
think is on there, and you're just gonna have to be honest. Like, yeah,
okay,
it's on
I'll
my
be
top
honest.
five. Also, for those interested, we already know the next game we're gonna play is Split Fiction,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I'm excited. Have you bought it yet?
yeah. I bought it. I bought it. So you just download the free trial or whatever, and then I can
We
send you
need
the code.
to. Yeah, we need to. I hear good things. I mean, I don't know why. I'm kind of excited, but that's normally when I get let down, though. Um, that normally that's how we get let down. Also, there's a little thing I did this week, Alex. I gotta be honest. I wanted to get you, I wanted to, like a spider, I wanted to befell you and wrap you in a web and then eat you alive on the podcast. So here's what I did. I knew we were playing this game. I knew you were telling me the game's pretty good, right? So I was like, I found an opportunity. Alex has an open hole and I'm gonna fill it. So what I did is we every now and then share music suggestions, and I went and I took a Kingdom Hearts song. It's called Calling. It's a banger. Real good song. And it's just straight up, it's a good song. I don't care what you say, it's a good song. And I downloaded it. I went to the video editing software because I had to change the name of it and all of this garbage. And then I had to look up and research the bosses in Split Fiction and rename it to be like, the CRI boss theme or something. So you would think this is from Split Fiction. I sent it to you. You didn't care. You were
So
like,
I think I said it's all right. Maybe I have to play the game to like it or something like that.
yeah. And complete disappointment. You ruined me. I was so excited. I was going to put you on blast. I had a whole thing set up. I was going to be like, Alex, you're a good friend and you're a father and you're a son. And then I was gonna start the music and I was gonna say, and a hypocrite. And then I was gonna lay into you on how this music that you loved was from the just amazing series that you despise for no reason other than you have bad taste and you ruined it all. I very
Because
disappointed.
in not liking that song, I just solidified that Kingdom Hearts is below par.
I mean, you said it was all right. I mean,
Below par.
oh, but F you. That's such a book. The thing is, like, the game. Okay, we can have a discussion. I can say how you don't like the game. The music, I don't understand how you listen to some of the music and you don't get it.
I mean I played through the whole first game and I never said the music for Kingdom Hearts is bad. The game is bad. The music's all right, but it's not it's like the music might be the best part of the game. I'll grant you
I put
that.
it at near automata level, but
Which
you
is a
love that
mistake.
music.
That's a mistake on your part. It is not near Automata
No,
level. No.
it's not.
No.
No, I'm not saying every track is a banger. That's an absolute lie. But if you take the best of Kingdom Heart and the best of Nier Automata, they're pretty close.
You just need to move to Japan and go listen to a bunch of J-pop, and then you'll be like, "Oh, this is average music."
Dude,
Turns
I
out.
want to go to Japan with you because I will rock your world. We're just gonna play Kingdom Hearts and sip on Nier drinks and
I'm gonna take you to a Kingdom Hearts themed maid cafe with all these girls walking around dressed up like a female version of Sora.
oh, I was down until you said so. Yeah, I was
Oh.
oh. I do think Japan would be pretty dope, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah, it's
mean,
cool.
yeah, I bet it is cool. Everyone I know that has been, they've loved it. Uh, dude, could you imagine a podcast series? Well, we did that with Orlando and no one gave a crap, but maybe they'd care about Japan.
Adam and Alex take over Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. We need to see Yoko Taro. Is he from Japan?
We need to make a documentary series of us hunting down Yoko Taro, the man
Yeah.
behind the mask.
Yes, that is a perfect title for it too.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay. We gotta do it. Let's go to jail. If we go, what's jail in Japan like, you think?
It's very bad. You do not want to go.
Are we talking about a way out bad or
Talking
worse?
about worse than a way out. They don't have the same kind of regulations we do to make sure prisoners aren't mistreated.
Oh, dang. Well, what's not mistreated is this game because we're coming back and we're going to talk about the classes, a little more of the combat. We're talking about aliens. Stay with us. We also have beans.
Woo! Welcome to segment 2 of Gaming is in Session. Adam, just to break things up a bit, we're going to go into a quiz to see who's going to eat a bean. Now, I know you have one thing to try to get me to eat a bean, but I got some questions for you. They're
I got a question
alien-centric.
for you.
What? Okay, what?
Have you got done drinking that Oreo Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, I'm almost done with my blue colada as well, which tastes like crap. It's not good.
See, here's the thing, Alex. Let's effing do it. dudes being guys, guys being dudes tonight. I had a little bit of it, but classic hard cider. So at the liquor store, there was three beers, or no, six. If you get six individually different beers, you get like 20% off. So I got six different ones. Let's up and do it.
Adam's getting his brain ready for the quiz that's coming his way. Um, so Adam, yeah, you're doing good there. Because you seem to think that this game was all about aliens, which it largely is.
Oh, that wasn't good. I got cider because I liked that. Wasn't good though.
I
Wow, that
have
do not ever buy Country Boy Brewing cider. It's not good. Wow.
Adam, let's move it along for the listeners. Nobody cares about your poor beverage choices. Adam, here's a question for you. Number one, what is the scientific study of the possibility of extraterrestrial life called?
Gosh.
It's multiple
Yeah,
choice.
give me a second.
It's multiple choice. Astrology, astrobiology, cosmology, or paleontology.
It was warm too, by the way.
The warm is not the answer.
Um, okay, paleontology is like freaking rocks and fossils and crap. So get that the F out of here. Astrology is like, oh, I'm a Pisces. Let me bang a Gemini. What were the other options?
I'm a Gemini for you, Adam. Astrobiology and cosmology.
Cosmology.
The answer is astrobiology.
Mother, I got it within two. Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking it's about like the cosmos and space, and that's where aliens are. That's where I was thinking.
So the
But
astro means space, and then the biology means life.
what's cosmology?
Cosmology is like the study of the formation of the universe, not necessarily
See,
the
that's
universe
why
itself.
okay.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Well,
okay, not looking great.
you're 0 for 1. Adam, the Drake equation attempts to estimate the Drake equation is very famous, Adam. It
It's
attempts
not
to
famous at
estimate.
all. I've never even heard of it.
No, no, it
F
attempts to
you,
estimate.
dude. F you. I've even watched The Big Bang Theory. They don't even mention it. Being
I'm
F
sure.
you.
I'm almost sure they do. Adam, you Drake equation attempts to estimate the speed of an alien spacecraft, the number of stars in the Milky Way, the number of potentially communicative extraterrestrial civilizations, or the composition of alien atmospheres. Which one?
Say the choices again.
The speed of an alien spacecraft, the number of stars in the Milky Way, the number of potentially communicative extraterrestrial civilizations, or the number or the composition of alien atmospheres.
I don't effing know. This is bullcrap, by the way. F you, dude. Um, it wasn't the first one. I'm thinking maybe the third. What was the fourth one again?
The fourth one is the composition of alien atmospheres.
No, that sounds stupid. What was the second one?
Number of stars in the Milky Way.
F it, it's the third one.
It is the third one. Adam, it's a famous equation.
It's not famous.
Oh, I've heard it and I've seen it in like 10 different movies. It's
It
very
wasn't in Earth Defense Force 6.
you did that's because you didn't play 50 Mission 51, the Drake equation.
Oh my, that's not 20%
I'm joking,
of
it
the
wasn't in
game.
Earth Defense Force. It's talking about aliens, Adam. Adam, what is the official name of Area 51? I have options here for you. Groom Lake, Area 51, Dreamland, or all of the above?
Area 51.
The answer is Groom Lake.
F
Groom
you.
Lake.
F you. I've been near Area 51. Never did I see something called Groom Lake. You're making crap up.
We can check later. Adam,
Is this a
what's
Chat GPT quiz? It sounds like a Chat GPT quiz.
a little bit? Adam,
Oh, you
what's
effing knew it.
Hey, no,
You
this is not
piece
this is
of
not whoa, whoa, stop. This is not ChatGPT anymore. These questions are from me from the heart. Adam, what state is Area 51 in? Wyoming, Nevada,
no.
New Mexico, Texas.
So the only reason I hesitate immediately, I'm like, boom, New Mexico. But I'm hesitating because in Las Vegas, in Nevada, of course, there is an Area 51 thing. But I feel like
That
it's
might
New
be
Mexico.
that might be
It's New
because
Mexico. It's New Mexico. Give me the point. Give me the point.
it's in Nevada.
What? No! No! What? Oh, I should have put.
So
Oh,
I think what messes you up is Roswell, the famous Roswell incident was in New Mexico, Roswell, New Mexico, but Area 51 is in Nevada.
fudge! No!
Sorry, I messed up. Groom Lake is in Nevada.
I hate you. I lost. I already lost three
That's a
of
bean. All right, Adam, here's the last one for you. This is not alien centric, but it's Earth Defense Force 6 centric. The giant weta is the world's largest insect by weight and by wingspan. Approximately how large is a giant weta? And you have four options here: the size of an apple, the size of an adult human hand, the size of a basketball, or the size of a bicycle.
Apple.
The correct answer is the size of an adult human hand.
I hate you. Which is like the size of an apple.
My hand is much bigger than this is a cricket. Imagine a cricket as big across as your hand. I looked up pictures of the giant weta. It made me want to puke. Adam, you
It
got
didn't
one
matter.
right. Eat a
It didn't
bean.
matter.
Eat a
F it.
bean. It didn't matter. None of it
Didn't
matters. Nothing
matter.
matters.
Am I spinning? You spinning? Who's spinning?
I don't have a spinner. You spin.
Do you want the seventh generation or fifth generation spinner?
Whatever you get to eat from. Seventh.
I mean, I could eat from both of them,
Okay,
but okay.
seventh then. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Because that's what I have. Just so I want to make sure I can feel the same pain for you.
Oh gosh, that cider. That cider sucked. Wow, it sucked. Yeah,
Cider
it's a good
dang near
spin.
killed her. What is it? What is it?
Strawberry banana smoothie or dead fish.
Don't worry, Adam. Your stupid top five aliens in video games is that might be a barf. You better watch out.
The thing is, they look so similar.
Just eat it. Just eat it. If it's a barf, whatever.
Really look at it. They
I know
look
they look similar.
identical on the thing. It doesn't have as many, like, it doesn't look as mean as a barf. So I'm thinking it might be dead fish. Damn, that's a dead fish. Oh, along with the
it's
cider,
never not the bad one.
along with the cider, it's
Yeah,
bad.
that's a bad combination, Adam. It's a bad
And
combination.
I have nothing to drink. I've got nothing to drink.
You gotta chew it up and then swallow it like a pill. I've been there. Moving on, Adam. Another thing we should mention. So the gameplay we've discussed a little bit. Largely, the game is walking around and shooting enemies. Most of the missions are just kill all the enemies in the level. So it's a third-person shooter. Now you do have different loadouts. Like if you get like rocket launchers or grenade launchers or shotguns and machine guns, and they have different effects and stuff. You can also, if you're the ranger, which is the default character class, you can call in like equipment, like motorcycles and tanks that you can drive. Um, but it's a third-person shooter through and through. Like that's the game. However, there is a bit of gameplay variety because there are four character classes. Now they advise you don't play with these until you've beaten the game with a ranger because
That's
as
so
you
stupid.
yeah, as you play through the game, you unlock more weapons, not just for the class you're playing, but for other classes that you could be playing as. You also increase the armor for them, which is like their HP. Um, but yeah, I told you, Adam, after we played, you should probably explore the other classes because the game was a lot more fun, and it's like an extra level of strategy when you open yourself up to trying different character classes. Now, the Ranger, as they say, is the starting class. You're just a third-person soldier, and you get guns, grenades, call in, vehicles and rocket launchers and stuff like that. And one thing about this character class is you have a sprint button, so you can sprint. Sprinting doesn't really go that much faster, but it opens up like there's a radius around you, and items within that radius get automatically picked up. So when you sprint, that radius gets bigger. So normally what you do is you kind of like kill a bunch of enemies so they drop items, and then you go sprinting around the area where you killed them so you can scoop up the items that they dropped, which is probably my least favorite part of the game is having to go pick up all the things that dropped because they're usually far away from me. But you need to do it. That's how you unlock the new weapons. That's also how you level up the weapons that you currently have. It's how you get health. It's how you increase your total hit points and stuff like that. Adam, did you enjoy playing the Ranger class? Any issues with that?
To me, that was no issues. That was the base level. That was the base expectation. So, didn't have any issues. Pretty unremarkable, but certainly not bad. It was
Yeah.
average. It was a 5 out of 10 class.
And I think as you play later in the game, like there's missions I run into that I can't beat. And if I go back to the Ranger class, it's like I can always make a loadout that just makes the level easy. So it's kind of like the easy mode version, but it's really straightforward. You don't have to think too much about how the game works. The next class, oh, I should have just made this a quiz, Adam, because you don't know the name. Uh, you just put the word air. Um, what do you
He's
think? What is air?
Airman. Yeah,
What?
Airman. It's like Mega Man, but air.
It's a
He
wing diver. Wing diver is their name. It's the female character class, and they have a jetpack. And so, did you try out that one?
Well, I love women, so yeah, I sure
Right.
did. This was, I'm just gonna break it down for you. I'm gonna break it down and I'm curious if you agree with me. Ranger, 5 out of 10. Air, much more fun, much more useful, much more engaging in gameplay. You get to fly over the enemies while you're tagging them. The air person is very strong. Yeah, you don't have as much armor or health, but I still wasn't getting hit very much.
Yeah.
So definitely a preferred way to play. Then we've got the Air Ranger, which is the dude with the drones. You didn't like him from what I remember. I think he's pretty dope, actually. That was pretty cool. You shoot these things that look like grenades, but really that's just tagging your target so the drones go and attack them.
That's how that works. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
What?
Yeah. But by the time I tried Air Ranger, there was like a bunch of things I could equip, and so I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. It is cool. And so there's still strategy in that you have to be accurate because if you're shooting an enemy and you miss and it hits the building, the drone's going to hit the building, not the enemy.
Yeah.
And yeah, right. And then there's like a cooldown system, and then there's a his secondary attack is something where essentially he tells all the drones, all four of them, to go attack in like a straight line. So I use that when there's a bunch of enemies around. But I thought he was pretty cool. It killed enemies pretty quickly. Not quite as dynamic as the air
The
chick,
wing diver, yeah.
but still pretty fun. The fencer, the dude who's the tank, garbage. Horrible. 2 out of 10. At least my loadout, and I know you unlock new weapons as you continue to play the game, so maybe it will get better. But originally, he only has like a rocket launcher thing, which
Yeah.
I think is really a grenade launcher. Admittedly, it is very powerful. I'm killing enemies in one hit, but it's such a slow reload time. And the way you aim, it it feels different than everybody else.
Yeah.
And I hate that. He is slow, the aiming is slow, the reload is slow. Like you expect that from a tank character, but not this much. I I got through maybe half a level, and one of my biggest complaints are that the missions are too long. Like they're 30 minutes. It's
Yeah.
too long. So I got like halfway through and I was having a horrible time, and I intentionally died because I was like, I can't do this. I'm miserable playing as this person. So that's my rank class. How much do you agree with me?
If I had to rank them, I'd do like wing diver and then ranger and then fencer, which is the tank you're talking about, and then the air ranger because I haven't played with it too much. Although I hear the air ranger, as you get used to it, and like that's the one. That's the one that makes everything really good if you get good at it. Because I've unlocked like helicopters that I can call in with the air ranger, so I can be flying a helicopter around and stuff like that. And you call in bomb strikes, all sorts of crazy stuff. I've also heard that the tank, if you get good at it, can be really, really good. The thing is you have to unlock enough equipment so that you get like bonuses to your exoskeleton, so you walk at normal speed. You get bonuses to like your muzzle, so it's easier to aim. You get bonuses that let you like boost more. So like instead of walking around, you're really like dashing around everywhere. And I've played around with them enough. The wing diver is just the most fun. Like flying around, The I do applaud them. I think each character plays significantly differently enough to where it kind of changes the gameplay and your approach to each mission. But the wing diver is just so fun. Like you almost don't care about your health as the wing diver because you're never getting hit. You care about how much juice you have left in your jetpack because that also fuels your ammunition for your guns too. And so there's a lot of times that I'm changing my loadouts on the wing diver a lot because it's like, well, this one pulls too much juice from my jetpack, but it does good damage. This one is graded up close. And so I think the wing diver is the most fun to play. Like when I'm grooving as the wing diver, I'm having the most fun in the game. Ranger's just kind of like, I got to get through this mission. I would like to go back and try to do better with the tank, but man, it's rough just because it moves so slow. Like that's my biggest beef is it just moves. Even the wing diver sometimes moves too slow, and I'm just trying to scoop up stuff that dropped out of enemies. You know?
Oh, really? Yeah. My thought is I want the fastest character and kills the enemies the fastest.
Yeah.
That's what the wing diver does. You can jump on someone, they're dead. I don't want to say immediately, but very close. Whereas like the ranger, you gotta shoot him for a little while, and then even the drone guy and the tank, it only takes one shot, but the chance of hitting them is so slim. I do agree. I think there's a good bit of variety there. It does change. They're different enough that I have clear preferences, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing.
I one issue I have is that in the with the classes when you're selecting your weapons, like you have no idea what a weapon really does until you play with it. And at the point I'm at in the game, I have like 100 weapons per character class. And I'll get a new one and it's like, oh, maybe this one will be good based on the description. It looks all right. But I don't know until I'm in the mission that like I got a sniper rifle, for instance, and it did like great damage and the accuracy was like perfect. And I was like, great. What I would love is like a sniper rifle that does a one-shot damage from across the map so I can pick off the enemies one by one. And then I go in and I play with it, and it's a sniper rifle that shoots 4 bullets all in like different directions. So it doesn't even shoot one straight. It just shoots 4 bullets. I have no idea why it would exist, but it does the most damage. So like I'm stuck. Like now I'm stuck in this mission with this gun that doesn't work. And I like, do I automatically kill myself? And that's a whole process of waiting for everything to load up. Like it would be great if there's a button I could click to at least like in Wukong, right? You hit the button, it shows you a video of what this weapon is like, what this move is like.
Yeah.
In Armored Core, you can hit a button and it goes into like a virtual simulation and you can run around with that weapon and see how it feels. I want that here because there's a lot of weapons I got that like I would love to see how this works, but I don't want to commit myself to a mission that's going to take, like you said, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that to get through, only to find out at the beginning that like this one sucks, this weapon sucks, and then I have to go through and reload the mission and pick a new weapon and stuff. So they really hurt themselves in terms of like exploring new loadouts because it's so painful to like test out a loadout before diving into something else. Maybe if you played a lot of multiplayer, which we can talk about next, then things feel less serious if you just kind of mess around because you got somebody that can back you up. But when you're playing by yourself, like it's a pain in the ass to like try different classes, try different weapons, and see what works.
And why not be able to change it in the mission, right?
Like a checkpoint, right? That would be a great idea, right? If there was
Yeah.
somewhere on the map that I could run to, like it's gonna suck for 10 minutes, but I can get to that like blue circle and then change my loadout there, that would be great. It's a great point because that would also serve as a good checkpoint in the mission. Because there's one mission I'm at now. The reason I stopped playing was because this mission starts with like a 5 minute dialogue that I'm talking between two different dudes, waiting for them to finish talking before I can even start going out and fighting the enemies. They keep killing me. And it's like, I wish I had checkpoints at some of these missions. I want to start here and instead of waiting for the same dialogue over and over again. But yeah, that's a really good point, Adam.
Yeah, I think a mission should last no longer. The longest mission should be 20 minutes. And I mean that's not the case. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Because it's one thing if you have a level and it continues to evolve and you're
Mhm.
seeing different enemies in that level or strategies different, you have a different environment, but essentially none of that's the case. And at least the missions I've played thus far, and it's just too long. It's like, oh, okay, instead of fighting 20 ants at near the end of the mission, now I'm fighting 40 ants. And it's like it doesn't matter. Yeah. That's why I like the least about the game. But you're right, the
And
multiplayer. So I played on the Steam Deck, you played on the computer, I think that
yeah,
night, right?
yeah,
Worked perfect. I
yeah.
had no issues. No lagging, no, I mean it was perfect. The only thing that's a little difficult, and it probably just because I'm, technically challenged, I despise Discord. I won't use Discord. I
Oh,
refuse. I've tried, not gonna use it. Not, no way. Old McDonald could come and suck my butthole dry. I am not using Discord ever again. It sucks. So we had to Google Chats. But other than that, like other than the communication issue, which wasn't really an issue, just we had to call each other, no big deal. It's pretty good, pretty easy, right?
yeah, I think that this is probably like it's probably how the game's meant to be played, like playing in multiplayer with people. But
So if you play with someone, a stranger, you don't like I didn't talk to them. Do you
I don't
actually
think you
talk to
need
the
to
people?
either. Yeah, I wouldn't. I haven't played with anybody other than you. I should probably try to play a couple of them, but um, yeah, I just like Helldivers. I don't talk to anybody in Helldivers. Like, there's enough emotes and stuff that you can use to get people to communicate what you want, right? There's a button you can press that sends like a signal to everybody that's like, "Hey, I marked this for blah blah blah." Um, but that being said, like the game's not maybe I'm just not far enough in. The game's not so hard to where you need to play multiplayer, right? And so that's why I don't like Helldivers 2 is impossible by yourself unless you play in a very specific way that's not really fun or conducive to the game. Helldivers 2, you have to play multiplayer to really enjoy it. And so I play multiplayer all the time. This, multiplayer seems like it might make the game too trivial. So maybe I should just try playing multiplayer on hard mode. They do a nice thing where they limit, like, all the weapons have a level to them. So if you play a lower level mission, then you can't use the higher level equipment. So that way I can't jump into a game and blast all the enemies before whoever's hosting the game can even play it. So that's a nice touch. But yeah, I mean, it'd probably be fun. Like this would be a fun couch co-op game, I think. Like if you and your buddies are just sitting on the couch, shooting through stuff. But for me, like I think I just kind of like it to listen to a podcast and blast the bugs and stuff because it's a really simple game and it doesn't get in its own way too much.
Yeah, for sure. I was surprised how many open multiplayer games were available. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd never heard of the game. Not that I'm, a master of all game releases or anything like that, but I mean, there were 25 open games at least, and
yeah.
there's probably a longer list, and I just didn't scroll through all of them. So you have a lot of options to play online if you want to. So that's kind of nice. So if you're interested in a game like this and you want to do multiplayer, it looks like you're going to be set, probably for a decent little while. How expensive is the game?
So I think the game is like $40 new. I bought it. There was like a deal that if you buy one copy, it gives you three free copies. So that's where I sent you one because I wanted to buy the game anyways. The reason
Yeah.
we didn't do this earlier was because there's no physical version of the game. I wasn't going to commit you to buying a $40 game that you couldn't sell when we were done with it. But then I saw this and I was like, well, I was going to buy the game anyways. Let me buy it, and then I get free copies. I sent it to you, sent it to a couple other friends. Um, so like that's for me, it was not very expensive for what
You
I
know
got.
what I hear? You want to know what I hear?
What do you hear?
I hear I should buy the game, sell the three keys online on eBay, make money.
Yeah, if you could sell keys on eBay, yeah, you could.
Why couldn't you? Sell them $20 a pop. I'm making $20.
If you could sell it for 20 bucks a pop. That's not a bad idea, Adam. I'll
Because
try to
look, if you wanted to play it, you were gonna pay 40, but go on eBay, buy my code, it's only $20. I
let me
send
see
it
if
to you
that
through.
if the thing is still live. Earth Defense Force 6. It's called the 4-pack.
I mean, for what it's worth, I am not gonna do that's scalping, and that only dickbags do that. I'm not doing it. But I'm surprised that's a lot. Three free copies? Like, why would they do that? That's wild.
It was it's part of the Humble Bundle if you're familiar with those. But yeah, it's still there. It's oh sorry, I said 40 bucks, it's like $47 and yeah, it gives you three extra codes. So yeah, not too expensive.
Yeah, wow. Good to know. Okay, Alex, I think it's time. It's time for you to eat a bean because we want to talk about top five aliens. Top five aliens in video games. Let's chat it up. I think that I know in your top five, I think I know one of the, I think I know probably more than just one alien, but one of them for sure. Book it. It's like, oh, is this Roswell or is it freaking Las Vegas? It's Las Vegas, baby. We're in Nevada right here. The Turians from Mass Effect.
You got it. That was
Oh,
definitely one. Yeah.
I knew because it was I knew it was Mass Effect. I was
Yep.
thinking about because I was like, obviously like, there's Metroid, there's ET, and then I went through all the games that we've played. And I remember you just being like Mass Effect, bleh! And I
When
was
you
like, okay,
first,
who is the biggest alien guy or the
yeah,
class or whatever the F they are? And Turnians were the dudes with like the long blue.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I
You
finally win one for the good guys. Yeah.
so did you play all the Mass Effect games or just the first one?
No, I played the one you made me play and it sucked on ice. I'm not playing another one.
I never made you play any of them because we never covered any of them.
You
I
I
told
definitely played one, and it was definitely because of you, because it certainly
I
wasn't
think
something I wanted to
I think
play.
we were on hiatus and you were looking for a game to play and I was like, play Mass Effect and you like just did. And I was
Oh,
surprised you played it because we weren't doing it for any reason, but
and I finished it, and it
yeah.
sucked.
Oh, that's not true.
I remember us chatting about it, and of course, you're always disappointed because you're like, "Oh no, it's so good." I think you have nostalgia for the game. I think it's more nostalgia than it is like it's actually good, which is fine, right? That's fine. I'm not gonna hold you against that, but it wasn't good, dude.
And anyways, top five aliens. When you mentioned this, Adam, I totally forgot about Mass Effect. Then when you said, I think I can guess one that you would do, and I was like, crap, okay. He's thinking of a game that he knows I've played. Must be Oh, and then right then I was like, Mass Effect. That's if he lands on Mass Effect, he's gonna land. And I would be hesitant to give it to you because Mass Effect is like you could just there's 100 different aliens in that. But because you accurately said Turian, which I was thinking Garrus Vakarian. That's the one that people really like in Mass Effect. That's the one that I like. I love Garrus. He's a Turian. So I'm giving you the credit, Adam, that you guessed properly a Turian. The other answer that would be viable is Solus from Mass Effect 2. He's a Solarian. He is also great.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Solarian,
He looks like
yeah.
a salamander. Yeah, yeah.
Ah. Okay, so is Metroid? Is that on your list?
I don't really consider Metroid a great alien game. I mean, it's like the Alien movie. It's good, but the aliens in there are not one of my top five aliens. No. When I think of like the best aliens in video games, I would think like maybe some of the bosses from Returnal. Uh,
Whoa.
those are some great aliens. Does it count as an alien if you're on their world? Because they're not an alien anymore. They're like a native, and you're
You're
the
the
alien.
alien.
Yeah, yeah.
That's I'll count it. I'll count it. But yeah, that's an interesting philosophical.
So
Yeah.
that would be the Returnal side. Like there's some aliens in Returnal that are like these are just great. This is a great alien design. Um, Obvious answers. The alien from Alien Hominid. I don't know if you've played that game. It's kind of
No, I
like
haven't.
Contra. It's a side-scrolling shooter. You're a little yellow alien. It's an awesome game, and that character is a great character. And you play as him, and you like shoot bad guys. You shoot secret agents. You also bite their heads off because you're an alien who wants to do that. It's a great alien. Other aliens. I thought you were going to guess this one, but you didn't. The Nomai from Outer Wilds. The Nomai aliens are great.
Dude, I blocked as bad as Mass Effect was, it wasn't nearly as bad as Outer Wilds. I've taken everything from Outer Wilds and I have flushed it from my memory. That is one thing, by gosh, I don't even want to consider. That name doesn't even ring a bell, and I'm glad.
All right. Well, other aliens in video games that are notable, I don't know if they're the best. The aliens in Silent Hill. If you get the alien ending, Silent Hill 2. There's aliens behind the scenes pulling all the strings.
Oh, yeah, nah, that's lame.
What are some other good aliens? I mean, I feel like there's aliens in almost every. Oh, Near Automata. The
Yeah.
aliens there.
That's
That's a
why
big
I
one.
was like, that's definitely there for me. I was waiting until you were done. I was like, near. Uh, I mean, it's hard to decipher though. Like, if it's a good game, is it? Is it a good alien or is the game just so good that you like the aliens because the game's good, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be hard pressed to find a game where I think the aliens are good, but the game is bad, right?
Well, I'm sure probably, I don't know, Outer Wilds,
You
maybe
don't
a
know
good
anything about.
alien, but the game sucks. Mass Effect, I thought the game sucked, but I remembered the Turians, so it did something for me,
So
right?
the thing about Mass Effect is like those aliens feel real. Like they all the aliens have their own like biology that gets described. They all have their
Yeah.
own characteristics. Even the Turians, right? They have it's something you don't see a lot in like science fiction, but there's the aliens, but even within the alien race, they have different races of aliens. So there's like the Turians that have a certain shaped head, there's the Turians that are like red and the Turians that are blue. Just like humans have different races, it's really Mass Effect can have all of the top five aliens. You can have the what are the brutes called there? Rex, he's one of them. I forget his name.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
you got the Solarians. You got the ones that they're all girls and their genitalia can be modified to have sex with any race of alien, and so they're all the prostitutes. But you fall in
They
love
could
with one
look
of
like the
them.
alien behind you right now if
Yeah,
the listeners are
I
watching the
wish.
YouTube video. Okay, Alex, let's move to the overall thoughts of the game. For me, I think it is, I don't think it's bad, but it has some flaws. Missions are too long. And it's, in my opinion, like it's not fun. Like, and it's a challenge. Like Balatro, I know this is a game like you were mentioning, where you're listening to a podcast, you're watching an episode of Seinfeld, you have March Madness on, you're playing the game. It's not one you're fully focused on. But there's something where like playing Balatro, playing Pokemon Puzzle League, playing Tetris, playing Toe Jam and Earl, something like that I play secondarily to something else, there's still some like satisfaction, although it's not like I'm smiling, being, oh, this is fun, that this doesn't do it for me. And I swear, I know it's such a stupid thing to harp on. I think it's the mission size. Like, I get so sick of after 20 minutes playing the same thing. Like, it's a killer. So, I mean, I don't think it's bad by any means, especially with it being free. Glad I played it. It was cool. I'm glad it's on my Steam Deck to whip out. You're right, in 1 hour spurts on a plane or in the airport or listen to your freaking mom talk about azaleas in the backyard, might it'll feel good, right? So I'm glad I have it. It has some flaws. Find a buddy, find four buddies, you split the price, and then it would probably be worth it. That's my take.
Yeah, I think my take's probably not too different. You're wondering, the question is, are we going to keep playing it? And my quick answer, no. There's no reason to keep playing it. I'm going to keep playing it because it's a good game for me to play to decompress after a long day or listen to a podcast or audiobook while I keep something going on in my head. But there's nothing deeper to the game than what you get in the first couple of hours. As much as I wish there was, and I think you're right, Adam. I think the time commitment required on the missions certainly makes it less enjoyable. Where they're so long that you never hit that sweet spot, right? The sweet spot for a game like this is like, ooh, just one more. Ooh, just one more. And for
Yeah.
me, it's very easy to say, no, no, no more, because I know the next mission is going to be a guaranteed 40-minute affair. Whereas with Balatro or Helldivers or another game like that, I could say the next mission might be 5 minutes long. I could probably get it. I could just do the main things and get it done in
Yeah.
5 minutes. This is like it's always going to be a 40-minute affair. There might be something where I grab the wrong loadout and I thought it told me it was going to be sniping, and there's a bunch of bugs around, and I can't snipe them. Great. Now I'm committed to 40 minutes of not very enjoyable gameplay. So yeah, the game is exactly what it looks like if you watch footage. I happen to find that really fun, but it's certainly not shaking up the Earth Defense Force genre in overall, and it's nothing special. Adam, the Metacritic score is around 73. What do you think about that? Is that too high, too low? Is that right on the money?
Um, the issue is, I mean, to be honest, that I need to know what other games got 70s for a reference. right?
Just for you, 7 out of 10. How do you feel about that as a rating for?
Mm, a little too high. I would put it at a I the way I view my internal system, I would give it a 5. To
No,
where
I
it's
could.
not bad, but it's like not great.
Yeah. I think you and I probably average it. I think I enjoy it more for whatever reason. I'd probably put it somewhere in like the 7.5 or 8 range, just because I do find value in the game. Like I have a lot of fun with it, and I think it does some fun things you don't find in other games. But it's not special enough to where I don't feel aggrieved when I see that most people gave it like a 7 out of 10. Like 7 out of 10 sounds fine to me. Like there's a lot of flaws in the game, a lot of rough edges, but it works fine. But for me, there's a little bit of extra sauce that's fun when you're fighting the big enemies, and that puts it up to an 8.
Yep.
But yeah, nothing great. But Adam, yeah, our next game we're playing, Split Fiction. How you feeling about it so far?
I mean, I'm excited. I mean, A Way Out wasn't great, so I wasn't like horribly super excited, but then everyone likes it. They're saying it's game of the year up to this point.
Split Fiction, that is, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
so, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm ready to play it, ready to rock and roll. But Alex, we have to close out this chapter of Earth Defense Force 6. And the only thing I really have left to say is take me to your podcast platform and subscribe to Gaming is in Session. Also, if you have YouTube, we're in Gaming is in Session right there too. We make tons of content. We have good chats. We want to talk to your mama, whether she's an alien or not. I'll take her to New Mexico, even though Area 51 is in Nevada. We'll make our own Area 51. But thank you for listening. We always appreciate it. Contact at playpsvr.com is our email. Please reach out, make YouTube comments, subscribe to us on all of our platforms. We will be back next time with Split Fiction. And this was the episode of Gaming is in Session where we told you what we thought about Earth Defense 6. And if you don't like it,
You can tell it to the judges.